You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the number one horse podcast in the world. Here is your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am Glenn the Geek in Ocala, Florida.
And I am Allison Renborg in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and you are listening to the monthly Equine Affaire episode of Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for March 16th. This episode is brought to you by Equine Affaire. Good morning, Horse World.
It's the third Thursday of the month. That means it's time for the Equine Affaire episode, North America's premier equine expo and equestrian gathering.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. That's right. Equine Affaire is coming up. It's going to be here before you know it. And we're excited because we have some of the headliners that are going to be there. They're going to be doing sessions that you can go watch, and they're also going to be in Fantasia. And we have, first off, one of my friends from a long time ago. I met him back in 2010, Guy McLean. He's going to join us today. Of course, he's the Australian horseman, and he's an entertainer and a trainer, and been to Road to the Horse, and he's going to coming up to Road to the Horse. We'll talk about that. Who else do we have?
We also have Dusti Dickerson, who is incredible. If you've seen her in Massachusetts the last couple of years, you're going to be excited to hear she'll be at Ohio this spring. She is a trick rider and Roman rider, and one of the stars of Fantasia.
So there's a couple of announcements we need to make. If you're coming to Equine Affaire in Ohio, we're doing an auditor meetup dinner on Thursday night of Equine Affaire, and you want to check the auditor room for details. Auditors are super fans. If you want to become an auditor, just go to horseradionetwork.com, click on the auditor banner on the right side of the page, and I'll give you the instructions for how to do that. And that's actually being organized by some of our auditors. If you're not an auditor and want to meet up with me and Allison and some of the other hosts from the Horse Radio Network, we're going to be recording Horses in the Morning 3 of the mornings at Equine Affaire. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning. We're going to start at 9:30, probably go to around 11, and then those shows will come out immediately after on the Horses in the Morning feed. And we're going to be at the Equine Network booth, which is in the Bricker building, right?
That is correct. The Bricker building is the big trade show building.
And from what I understand, we have a big booth, so you'll be able to find us.
It'll be hard to miss the Equine Network booth. Let me put it that way.
And I think I haven't seen it yet, but we have this great big, banner that's round and goes like toward the ceiling. So you won't miss us. We'll be set up there. Just look for the microphones. We would love when you're recording, if you stop by, you can watch. We'll have guests over. We'll have clinicians over and other people over, and maybe we'll get you on the air. We love to have our listeners on the air as well. So stop by and join us for one of those recordings. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning, Equine Affaire, starting at 9:30 at the Equine Network booth, and we'll be there recording from like 9:30 to 11. So we look forward to seeing you there. Now, also, hotels, the hotel blocks are expiring soon too, right?
That is correct. At the end of March, which, believe it or not, we are in March. I'm not really sure how that happened. So yes, if you haven't booked your hotel yet, I highly encourage you to do so quickly. Those room blocks are going to be expiring March 31st. And then when you book, just make sure you mention Equine Affaire so you can get a discounted rate at some of the host hotels. And the host hotels are on our website at equineaffaire.com.
All right, very good. Well, I'm very excited about our first guest. Do you want to introduce him?
I would love to. I'm not sure he needs an introduction, but I probably should. So Guy McLean is a self-taught Australian horseman. He is a familiar face at expos and events all over the world, not just in the United States. Guy and his fabulous team of horses have performed at the World Equestrian Games, Briarfest, the Royal Winter Fair, the National Rodeo Finals, and of course, Equine Affaire. Guy will be presenting on general horsemanship topics at Equine Affaire in Ohio this spring, and he's also one of the stars of our Fantasia show.
Well, hi, Guy. It's good to talk to you again.
Nice to talk to you both.
So, Guy, I think we met back in 2010 in Lexington, Kentucky. Am I right about that?
That's right, just outside the wonderful little round pen in the middle of the city.
That's right. Oh, my God. That's so long ago.
No, just yesterday, mate. For a horseman, 10 years is nothing. That was yesterday.
No, that's true. That's true. But I'm so glad to talk to you again. And you know what? I'm so glad that you're still visiting the United States.
Oh, we always said we'll go where people want to see us. We've just finished a show at Harrisburg Horse World Expo, and fans have been seeing us there for 12 years, and they always get excited to see us. So we go where we're wanted, and we're very excited about being at Equine Affaire again. It's one of our favourite shows in the world.
So you're going to be at Equine Affaire, by the way. I will be there the whole time, so I'll get to see you in person.
Great. Look forward to it.
So you, what are you going to do at Equine Affaire? What's going to be your show?
Well, when I first went there, the reason I do what I do is because there's so many ways you can be in the horse industry, but the only way you can get paid to ride your own horses and stay with your own horses forever is as an entertainer. So I built my name in Australia as an entertainer, and I came over here as an entertainer for Horse World for a week, and then like shows like Equine Affaire, found out that I could do what I do. The first year I just did performing, and then first year I just did clinics, and then the second time I went there as a performer. So as far as I'm concerned, my main thing is to put on a wonderful show in Fantasia. I'll be doing my Taming of Denny show, which I've got a wonderful little gelding called Denny that looks very much like the man from Snow River's horse, and I tell them it's a bit of movie magic, and you've all seen the first movie, but there'd be no movie without training Denny first. So we do a Liberty Act that incorporates that, and people walk out of there like it was a comedy show. Denny's quite funny, and I pretty much talk about it like in the movies. You see in the movies, they climb on the young horse for the first time, bridleless, and then they doing flying changes and spin, and things that don't happen in real life they can do in the movies. So I just play around with that. But I will be starting a young horse. Be doing one of two things. I'm competing in the World Championship for colts starting in 2 weeks, and if I'm blessed enough to win that, I'll take that young horse through, and he'll have his 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th rides at Equine Affaire. And if that doesn't happen, I'll be bringing a young horse from Texas, and I'll give him his 1st to 4th rides. And then through the afternoon, I sort of read the crowd with my finished horses, and I work on everything of high-level horsemanship, on how I get my flying changes and how I ride bridleless, and the connection between one man and his 5 Liberty horses.
Do you actually transport your horses back and forth to Australia, or do you have a set down there and a set up here?
Yeah, I must admit, if the horsemen were as rich as everybody says they are, I probably could fly them back and forth. But I have shows to me all the time tell me how expensive I am, and they say, are you bringing in your Australian team? And I say, what you're offering me here would bring 2 legs and about 5 strands of his mane and tail. Like, there is not the money to fly horses back and forth is ridiculous. So in 2010, it cost me $50,000 to bring the 4 horses from my base to where we're based in Texas, and now I think it's like about 30,000 per horse. So the deer horses that I have here from Australia are on the Prefect Ranch in Mount Pleasant, Texas, and I plan, and that's why I'm still here, because wherever my horses are is where home is. So if I had horses in Europe would be a big part of where we go. My horses are in Texas, so we have 4 horses from Australia here, and then I have 7 other wonderful horses that have been purchased or I've won Road to the Horse with that are here. So I have a team of horses in Australia, and I do breed in Australia, and then I have 2 teams here in America that we take on tours between America and Canada.
Do you have some of the horses originally from Australia that you had in 2010? Are they still showing?
I sure do. On the trailer behind us, we have Spin Abbey and Hope, and I must admit they're my oldest at 23 and 20. And I'm nervous and I'm worried. They are the most amazing horses. They are my heart horses, the pair of them. But I remember coming back after COVID, and I was really worried. 2 years is a long time for a performance horse to just be sitting. My American horses, my Maid and Aussie, they looked like they were fully retired and like they had bought houses in Florida and never wanted to work again. Spin Abbey and Hope were bouncing on the spot like they couldn't wait. And then it was back at the wildcard competition 6 months ago. I had a young man come up to me. He was the son of one of the wildcard competitors for Road to the Horse, and he said, "Are you going to do the canter backwards thing you do?" And I said, "I'll probably not, mate." I said, "This beautiful horse has only had 5 rides in the last 2 years, and I won't do it to him. It's hot." And then we rode into the arena, and they had aircon in the Fort Worth Stock Show Arena. And Spinobi basically said to me, if you don't let me canter backwards, I'll do it by myself. And he just performed like a legend. Like, he did 50 flying changes. I could just feel his energy comes up. And both those boys, they do what 20 and 23-year-olds do, and they walk out of the stable and have a little stretch, and they have a bit of a yawn. But when they hit the arena, they act like they're 5. And so I will read them and watch them. And the day they tell me enough's enough, I will. But I had someone say to me the other day, you get one step closer to retirement. And I said, I will not retire till they put me in a box. And I do feel that Spinobi and Hope have that same kind of heart.
And you're doing Road to the Horse coming up, isn't it?
Sure, certainly is. We're about 2 weeks away.
Is this your second time?
This is my third.
Third. Okay. I thought it was 2 or 3. And so what do you...
Dan James and I won it in 2012, and then I won it by myself in 2013.
That's right. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I think I was there actually back then.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm very excited for you to do that, and then come off of that into Ohio. That's an interesting couple of months.
Well, it is. I mean, if all goes like I've been planning, I'll have a dirty big grin on my face, and if it doesn't, I'll probably look a little sheepish. but we'll just roll on. I write for a magazine in Australia that has 200,000 readers, and I wrote an article on how I'm preparing. My good gelding mate that won in 2013 is a huge help to me. I just did Harrisburg Horse World Expo, and on day 3 I rode a lovely young Hancock-bred quarter horse mare there, bridleless, through an obstacle course we set up, and worked my team bridleless off her on day 3, and no one's been able to accomplish anything like that at that competition. The competition is different. They don't let us get out of the round pen till day 3. So riding in those small yards makes it hard to get a horse to open up his heart and really go forward. But mate, I send him at liberty, and he pulls those horses around, and he, like metaphorically, he runs in front of them, and they chase him like a cow and stuff. So I'm just so very, very excited to perform. And I was telling everybody, like, for the article, and I said, by the time this article comes out, there will be another winner of Road to the Horse. And if it's me, the very next article, because I've been writing for 2 years there, the very next article will be about how I did it and how excited I am. And if not, the very next article will be about something totally different, and no mention of such competition will be brought up.
That's funny.
You're setting the expectations.
Yeah, we have faith in you, Guy. We're believers.
I appreciate it. Well, I appreciate it, and I'm so excited because I've been away from it for 10 years, and people said, "Why would you come back?" I've been asked nearly every year to come back, and I said, "I don't believe that 5 years ago, I said, I don't believe I could do any better than what Mate and I did. And if I can't top it, if I can't do better, well, I'm really happy with what we did. I rode him bridleless on the last day and stood him on a pedestal. But I do feel that I'm a better horseman now. I feel these horses are speaking to me more than ever, and I feel that there's a lot more that I can share. And I really like the energy of the other competitors. I've met Mike that won it last year. What a gentleman he is. I'm dear friends. I would like to say I'm dear friends with Craig Cameron and his wonderful sons coming, and J.R. Robles looks like he's a horseman on the rise too. So I'm really excited about being in the arena with like-minded people.
You know, I get the question a lot. As you know, we interview big-name dressage riders and eventers and jumpers and all of that. And one of the questions we always get is, and I'd be interested to ask you this as a trainer, do you work with other trainers to get better, or is it always on your own?
For me, it's always on my own. I've been very blessed since a young boy to have basically, I suppose, needs that have required me. I'm different. When I think about horses and what makes them tick, I'm very much like them. Horses are animals that like to rest when they rest, and they use their energy when they do. And you put a horse in a crowded room and he wants to go and hide in the presses. I'm the same. I'm sitting at the booth where a lot of trainers like to sit at the booth. They're gregarious and they love signing autographs, and I'm thinking, I just wish I could get back to the stables. I wish I could just put my arms around my horses. I wish I could be working a young one. The booth stuff, the talking to people is very, very important to my job, and I've now found a way to embrace it and to enjoy it because I know it's important, just the same as driving. We're driving 3 days to get to our next show. I'm learning to embrace the travel as well, whereas if I only like the things that I liked, I'd only be happy for, once a weekend when I'm in the arena performing or when I'm with my young horses. When I was young, my dad said, I don't care what you do with the horses, boy, as long as you don't hurt them, you don't hurt yourself, and you have a bunch of fun. And I based my entire life around that. So there's things that I will be doing at Road to the Horse people have called my method, when I won in 2013, they called my method, what did they say? It was unorthodox. And I took it as a bit of a hit to the chin. Because we're not allowed to expand on our method, we're not allowed to share what we're doing. It probably did come across that, but it's not unorthodox to the horses. I'm trying in every single moment to find out what makes them tick, to find out what drives them, and to find out what they need. And I'm prepared to change it at every moment. And people come up to me all the time and they say, well, who did you learn from? And then I say, well, I learned from the horses I work with, because the greatest trainers in the world have done very well, but they're one generation, or maybe two, if they're lucky, maybe 3 generations of horse trainers. When you talk to the horse, you're 5,000 generations of what it is to understand the mind and the thoughts of those animals. So though I'm a teacher and it's very important for me to be able to guide those horses and help them, I am not too brazen or too arrogant to take exactly from the horse's mouth what they need. And whatever it is that they need, they're never wrong. If I have to, I've got 2 horses in my team, Spin Abbey and Hope, who open up their heart and give me everything because I ask. And Denny does incredible things for me because I trick him into thinking it's his idea. And the act is still great. But if I told Denny he was doing it because I wanted him to, he'd rip up his Liberty card and throw it in the bin, With my good ones, they want to please me. Denny wants to please himself, but they're still all great performers because I find what makes them tick. So
that's how we stay married too, Guy, is just what you said there. Make them think it's their idea. That's how we stay married too. Yeah.
I rode into the arena the other day and my beautiful wife's there, and I said, I want you to know that I always get the last word. Yes, dear.
That's right. Yeah, we learn that. It takes us a while, but we eventually do learn it. Allison?
Agreed.
I had a question for you, Guy. So one of your clinics that you're planning to do at Equine Affaire on Saturday morning, actually, is how the skills of an Australian stockman can help you achieve your horsemanship goals. And I was hoping, could you share a little bit? What skills are you talking about, or are you planning to talk about?
I sure can. When they first said to me, all the shows say, we need you to give us topics. And I go, well, I just high-level horsemanship. They say, no, we want you to come in and give us topics. And I say, okay, then I'll give you a topic, and then I'll come in and I'll do what my horses need, and I'll do what the crowd needs. I'm very good at reading who's in the crowd and that sort of stuff. So I'll pretty much go in there and do what's on my heart. But I will talk about it a little bit because it's on there. But the skills of you watch a lot of people when they ride, they don't really have a plan, and they don't have much awareness. So as a skill of a stockman is you have to be aware from the moment you walk into the yard with a young horse or a cow or a sheep or anything that you're working with. You have to check them. You know when your horse is off. You know what he's eaten. You know how much he's drunk. You know how many times he's gone to the bathroom. Because if you're not watching those health signs, that's when things can go wrong. And I've been over here at the biggest events in the country, and the names that have done this to me, and I'm not going to bring them up, but I'll be talking to them for a good 5 or 10 minutes, and they don't even look at my horse. They just chat with me, and away we go. And then someone like John Payne, who's the one-armed bandit, who is a stockman. I mean, he does his show, but he works cattle and that, and his whole family is stockmen. His young grandson come up to me and goes, man, that horse of yours has got a quarter crack on his left front foot. Hey, that looks pretty bad. And because he works with cattle and sheep, he has to keep his eyes open for that. And I said, yeah, mate, he got his foot caught in a fence, but he's healed up now. The trainers, the riders, didn't see that, but the stockman did, because he has to have a look at the body shape and type. The other thing is, we're told as stockmen when we're riding along, is to keep your eyes and ears open and to basically have a 360-degree view, because in Australia, especially if you're riding through thick timber, the cows will be clever and they'll lay down. Even the wild ones will lay down in the brush, and if you're not looking for them and feeling of them, you can't find them. And you'll often see your stock horse will prick his ears to them, and that's why it's so much better to work with horses and to ride a bike. You could drive past those cows through thick bush and not find them, but your horse will let you know, and you ride over there. And my brother always used to tell me, Guy, stop daydreaming, because I am a bit of a daydreamer, and that's why I can do what I do. But stop daydreaming and keep looking around. Make sure you see the cattle. We don't eat if we don't bring them home. That's how you make your living. So that's another skill of them. Doing a job with a horse is a skill of the stockman. No matter whether you're riding a horse with 10 years of training or you're riding a horse on his 10th ride, if you're working cattle, you need to be able to ride one-handed, which means that you'll crack a whip in your other hand. Over here in America, you whirl a rope. Just having a job to do makes those horses stand up and be better quicker. So the young horse that I started at Harrisburg on day 3, I was able to rope my mounting block and drag it along as though it was a cow. I was able to ride along cracking a stock whip in one hand while I followed my Liberty horses like they were 4 head of cattle. And this baby who had never been ridden 3 days before was riding one-handed and staying between my aids, when if we don't have those ideas behind us, we can ride them till they're 5 or 6 and they can still be squirting left or right and not staying between our hands. So the skills of the stockman, there's just so many, and I just try to explain where I really needed them in that life, but how I carry them over into my horsemanship now.
Well, and it makes total sense, that whole idea that you're not just there with your horse to do a job, to ride around the arena or to do dressage or to do your lesson or whatever it is that you had accomplished. You're there because you want to do those things, but you've got to pay attention to your horse, how they're feeling, and notice those little things to make sure that everything goes together successfully. And, sometimes what your plan is for the day is, I want to ride 10 perfect circles. Your horse is not in the mood to do 10 perfect circles. And I think Glenn knows what that's like with Scooter. So you do what Scooter wants to do, right?
That's right. When you own a Hackney pony, Guy, you pretty much learn that quickly.
Oh, beautiful. Well, I say to people too, when you ride into the arena, if you want to work on your spins or if you want to work on your side passes, not to waste them just for when you want to do them, but use them when they be most valuable. So people say, I've got a thoroughbred that wants to run all the time. And I say, well, the spin is a great way to take energy out of a horse. All the reiners say the best way to lose forward is to work on your spin. So work on your shoulder control. And when the horse gets slowed down in his feet, then let him off on a loose rein. If your horse is drifting out of the circle, wait until he drifts and gets straight, and then say, I love the fact that you're able to go sideways, now do it for me. So I don't go in with a set plan other than to get my horse between my aids, and I work on what they are. And to me, I never practice on a 10-meter circle, but if I practice on a 5-meter, a 7-meter, a 10-meter, very soon I can put them between my hands and my legs and put them exactly where I need to be. And it's all because of the preparation. That the whole ride, I'm saying, where are you lacking? What do we need to work on? I let them bring up the topics of, like going to the gym. It's no good saying arm day if their arms are huge and their legs don't look good. So, mate, it's time you did a bit of leg day. And that's how you get a well-rounded horse, I believe.
I've always wanted to ask you this, and I've talked to you 100 times, and I've never asked you this. I'm a carriage driver. Have you ever driven carriage? Have you ever driven?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So back home, my beautiful grandfather, Guy McLean, used to have some heavy horses that were milk cart horses in Melbourne, and then he used to use them in his market. He used to use them as a market gardener when others were going to war. Pa would have them in his gardens, and then we brought them, and we used to sit beside Pa. Some of my greatest memories was driving along with those old draft horses behind, and then my brother had long-reined a little bit when he was young, and first young horse I ever started when I was 15, I long-reined, and she was fighting me and was real tricky. She was a horse that we paid $25 for, and my brother thought she was worth 10. And then my brother Travis said, give me a go at that, and he grabs the reins and just was skiing behind her. And I looked at her and I thought, as a 15-year-old boy, I knew that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be hanging off a horse's face. Well, so I stayed away from it for many years, and because long reining done well is an incredible, amazing tool, and done wrong is actually really quite dangerous because it can disconnect a horse through its face. Like I've seen horses that have been long rein, they can put their nose on their left shoulder and run sideways into the fence, not looking where they're going. But then I had a dear friend who's a hunter jumper rider and sold hunter jumper horses for $170,000, ones that I've started 4 years before and that kind of thing. She was the first person I worked horses for when I come to America. And she said, I'm getting a little older and I have carriage horses now, and I got a gypsy cob that was trained in harness, but he's dangerous. He's running off and he's scared. And I said, well, I'll help you because I've helped you with the other things. And I'm really, really grateful for it because I learned to find a way to make it work. And there's things I do now where I will not start a young horse now without driving him on the ground, without long reining him on the ground. So, and my long reining is very much like groundwork with 2 reins. But then I've started a couple of gypsy cobs for her that have gone on to be champions. I've worked with a beautiful chestnut horse, a beautiful Hackney that was quite dangerous. And he had a heart like Spin Abbey and just needed help, and he's gone on to win again and do some great things. And I have driven 6 horses in hand in a show in Australia, 6 horses for a Cobb and Co coach. So I love it, and I think it's great. And I know for a fact that when I get too old to swing my leg over, harness will be a huge part of my future, I'm sure.
Well, great. I'm glad to hear that, because a lot of riders are like, I'm never driving. That's too scary, you know? So it's like...
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful skill to learn. Yeah.
Well, that's terrific. Well, all right, Allison. So where can people see him when he comes into Ohio?
Well, he's going to be doing different clinics on pretty much every day, I think. But I especially
I get 2 clinics a day.
2? All right, 2 clinics a day. See, he knows his schedule better than me.
I don't have a schedule. I just know one twice.
2 clinics a day. And then also you're performing in Fantasia, right?
That's my favorite bit. I just love sharing, and I love hearing the giggles and the oohs and ahs, and I just get a real kick out of it. And I have probably way too much fun. When they see me perform, they're probably wondering why they pay me, because I'm having so much fun.
We have a lot of fun watching you, and I'm super excited to see what you have in store for us. So,
well, Guy, we'll see you in a couple of weeks then.
Look forward to it. Thank you so much for reaching out. Can't wait to see you all.
All right, thanks, Guy. Well, you heard Guy talk about Fantasia, and that's Friday and Saturday night of Equine Affaire in Ohio. And they are desirable seats, and they're going to get really hard to find. So get your tickets now. That's a separate ticketed event. In addition to getting in during the day, this is a separate ticketed event. And you want to go to equineaffaire.com for all the details and to get the tickets, but get them soon because it does sell out. And you heard Guy, he loves doing Fantasia. All the performers love doing Fantasia because there's not too many opportunities to perform with other people at that caliber in front of a large audience. So it's really exciting for them as well.
Absolutely. And it's also on Thursday night. So it's 3 nights.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, it's 3 nights, but I want to say most people want to go Friday and Saturday night, and those are the tickets that go faster than Thursday night.
And beside Guy, who else is going to be there?
Oh, yeah. We're going to have Dusti Dickerson, who's our next guest. She's going to be doing an incredible hot jumping act, and you'll get that joke in a minute. And then we'll have the Knights of Iceland. They're a huge crowd favorite. Everybody loves watching the Icelandic ponies do crazy stuff, and there's usually fire. We're going to have the Whispery Pines Percherons, which I am maybe the most excited about because I get really excited.
Me too.
When Kogi told us that the Whispery Pines were going to be there, you should have seen me like jump up and down. I got really excited and everybody was laughing at me and I'm like, I can't help it. I just love the big ponies. And then the Diamond D Cowgirls will be there. They're a hugely popular, very sparkly drill team. We'll also have the Frisian Heritage drill team. So you're going to see a lot of really cool drill riding, which is just super exciting and very upbeat. There's lots more.
I always wondered, what's it like for you guys when you're, let's say, a month out like this? You know, what's it like for you guys in the final preparations? Is everything done, or is it just like crazy nuts?
Everything is not done. It's crazy nuts. Things start ramping up. I started having nightmares a couple weeks ago. I'll have dreams about packing or unpacking, and getting lost on the grounds. Those are my anxiety stress dreams.
Well, you can get lost at these places. They're huge. I mean, so let me ask you this: do you? How is everything organized? Is there a million spreadsheets? Is that how it's all done?
There are a million spreadsheets. There are a million So we have the server with a capital S, where everything is stored from events going back way, way, way years before I was there. So everything is stored safely. But yeah, we have spreadsheets and Word docs, and then I think everyone on staff has their own personal organizational system. So I have multiple spreadsheets of my own and to-do lists. And I'm pretty sure that each of us, depending on our organizational style, has a different way to keep up. But like I think Kogi said, I just have a million to-do lists, and that's the way it is. And I'm like, okay. So,
boy, my ADHD, I would be having trouble with that.
I have a little trouble sometimes, but I have, when you have ADHD, which I'm not diagnosed, but sometimes I feel like I must have it. You come up with coping mechanisms, right? You know.
Yeah, we still get our jobs done,
Yeah.
one way or another.
You're still a highly successful podcast host, Glenn, so you make it work.
Yeah,
And
but
I'm
not well
who I am.
sometimes, I think.
Even if it's by the seat of your pants, at least it got done. That's
We
how
fake
I
it
look
well.
at
See, we're actors. We fake it well.
Right?
That's right.
That's what, it doesn't matter. Did it get done? It got done.
10 minutes ago,
So-
but it got done.
It got done. So, no, to answer your original question, everything's not done. We've still got lots to do, but I kind of look at us as jugglers. We have lots and lots of balls in the air all year round because we're working on 2 events at a time or 3 events at a time, depending on where we are in the cycles, because we're already thinking about Ohio 2024 in addition to Mass 2023 and Ohio 2023. And then the 6 weeks leading up to the event, which we're like less than 30 days to go by the time this airs, there's just more and more balls in the air. So, like, just imagine a whole cloud of balls in the air. That's what it feels like.
Is there one person that ends up being the crisis coordinator? Because things always go wrong at events like this. You can't have an event of this size with tens of thousands of people involved without things going wrong. Is there one person that kind of is the go-to person to handle that? Or does each department head handle the nightmares that could pop up?
Each department head, which I guess I'm technically the department head of marketing, but I am the department. So
you're handling your own nightmares.
I handle my own crises, but then I would say Kogi, our president. I am always stunned. Like during the event, I will be, depending on how much coffee I've had that day and how many crises have been happening, my hair will get frizzier and frizzier, and I'll be like a hot mess. And then I'll go to Kogi and be like, okay, here's a crisis. And she's just like calm and collected. She never looks stressed out. I don't even think the woman drinks coffee. I don't know how but Kogi can handle it.
But it takes that person in that job, right?
And that's her. And that's why she's so well equipped to be our president and our owner, because really she handles all the crises. They eventually all go to her. And she, if I can't solve it in the marketing department, it has to go to Kogi. And if Hannah and Alyssa can't solve it in the trade show, it goes to Kogi. So she's kind of the top of our pyramid, I guess you could say.
Well, I'm looking forward to meeting her. I haven't met her in person yet, but I'm looking forward to meeting her and everybody else there, including Dusti. Tell us about Dusti.
Oh, yeah, Dusti's cool. So at 8 years old, Dusti was on vacation in Branson, Missouri when she saw the Dolly Parton Stampede and witnessed the art of Roman riding for the first time. And she's going to tell us that story. Today, she is an award-winning trick rider and a Roman rider, and she'll be performing in Fantasia this spring at Equine Affaire in Ohio. Hi, Dusti. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
We are super excited to have you on. I have been dying to talk to you ever since I saw you leap through fire a couple of years ago. So,
well, thank you very much.
I was hoping, could you tell me a little bit about you? Because I have done a little bit of reading, but it sounds like you have a really cool story. So could you kind of start with how you got involved with horses?
Yes, absolutely. So I grew up on a farm. My dad and my uncle, they co-owned a rodeo company, a small rodeo company in Southern Illinois. It started out small and they grew into doing about 30 of our fairs throughout the year. So we were getting pretty busy, and they started that when I was 3. So I grew up and it's kind of all I knew. And I grew up riding ponies and my brothers racing, and, I got to have a really great childhood with horses where I had a lot of fun with them and had just a natural love for them. And I started barrel racing. I carried the American flag. And then on the other side of life, I was a competitive gymnast. I started tumbling when I was about 3. So I definitely had like the showman mentality in my head. I loved Sonora and Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken, the diving girl. And so I always loved the performing and, wanted to do that. And when I was 8, we went on a family vacation to Branson where we saw, it was Dixie Stampede at the time. And now it's the Stampede. And I saw Roman riding and trick riding for the first time. And I don't know what sparked my little 8-year-old mind, but I told Dad, I said, that's what I'm going to do one day. I'm going to be there. And he said, he said, and I'll never forget it. He goes, well, if you work hard enough and don't mind falling on your head, I have no doubt. And we went home and we had 2 pickup horses at the time. If you're familiar with rodeo, pickup horses are the horses, whenever you see the bucking horses or the bucking bulls, the cowboys are out there, and I guess you call them the rescue horses. They come in, they get the cowboy, or they drag a bull out if a bull doesn't want to come out. So really well-rounded, strong horses. And we had 2 of them. And Dad he said, take these 2 and do what you want. And this is another funny. He told me he didn't know, being 8, 9, 10, you never know how much someone's going to stick with something. So he had me start them with halters and lead ropes because he didn't want me to mess up their handle or mess up their mouths. So my early videos are me on these horses with halters and reins so that I didn't mess them up for my dad. So these 2 particular horses, Chief and Ariel, wound up, when I talk about them, I about choke up, but they are the staple of my entire life. They gave me so much confidence. I just went out in the pasture and started doing it bareback and barefoot with the halters and lead ropes. And I mean, my confidence, my first show was just through the roof, and they carried me, years and years. I did my first show when I was 10. I got hired at Tennessee Dixie Stampede and I was 18, and they went with me, and I spent a better part of my career on those 2. When they passed away, one passed away a couple of years ago, 3 and 5 years ago. They were 28 and 32 and they passed away, and just as healthy and wonderful as you can imagine. And so those 2 got me started, and from then everything just kind of was a big takeoff.
That is amazing. And for those horses to live that long, you were taking good care of those boys, clearly.
They were well taken care of. And Dad always had a theory on older horses. He would say, it's kind of like a person, you quit talking and you quit being active, and, they're going to just die off and give up on life. And so Chief and Ariel, up to their last day, I would get on them once or twice a week and just put them with a younger horse, or just kind of let them feel like they were still involved and still practicing. And they got, wormed just like them. They got shod just like the rest of them. They never really knew they were retired. And I completely credit that to them living so long. I currently have the team behind him was Royal and Fella, and Fella's 35 now. And I couldn't catch him today. My mom, They live at my mom's, and I was over there worming them today. And I go over there twice a week, and I work those 2. Royal's 23, Fella's 35, and I was going to worm him today, and he was running from me. I couldn't catch him. And my mom, here I am, 35, and my mom's watching me out the kitchen window. And I come in, and she goes, "Well, nothing's changed. Fella still doesn't want you to catch him." And he's basically a dinosaur in horse years. So, and I can't really say that I've really ever done a lot of crazy supplements or, any crazy special anything, just condition and ride them. And here we are. I've had him 28, 32. This guy's 35. And so, I'm pretty proud that all my horses live really long, fulfilling lives.
Yeah. They're from good stock, and they're well taken care of.
Well taken care of, appreciated, all the things.
Yeah.
At 35, I'm still a completely crazy horse person, completely crazy, little horse girl.
Yeah. So how many times did you fall on your head is my question when you were trying to learn this?
last week I was trying to do something. I was training a new team, and I was trying to ride in Roman pads, and it turns out I'm still terrible on Roman pads. And I slipped and fell on my head last week. So the count continues.
Oh, no.
I think she's probably lost count by now.
Yeah, there's no telling. You know what, though? I'm totally joking. I have fallen plenty of times, but I'm going to just go back and say the foundation I had, the support I had, the gymnastics, different things. Mm-hmm. I have had my share of injuries, but nothing like you would ever imagine. My dad, I feel like, was really above his time. We didn't know anything about Roman riding and trick riding. My dad really could read horses very well and training, and he loved training colts. And so when I was training those first couple teams, he would just give such great advice on how to teach them. And he would always preach that they're kind of like kids. And he just had such a great way of coaching me along to train horses that really and truly I haven't had what I would call problem teams or problem horses because he did such a great job teaching me how to teach them and understanding what they need. So it's not, I can't sit here and tell you that I've had a ton of horses refuse jumps or fall down, or I've had a very long career, and I credit a lot of it to my dad and how he taught me how to teach them, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, it totally does. And you're a mama now too, right? You have 2 little children?
I have 2 kids. I have Cruz, and he's 2.5, and I have Valen, and she is 8 months.
And what do they think about what you do?
They don't know any different. Cruz,
Right.
Cruz doesn't really think. I mean, it's all they know. When Cruz talks about jumping horses, he has this little game with me right now. He thinks all jumps are fire jumps, and he doesn't ever say fire. He says hot. He'll just see a jump, and he'll say a hot jump, a hot jump. So everything is hot jumps, and it's just it's all they know. But I will say, with him being 2.5, he's on horses every day. I don't ever let him stand up. I don't ever let him pretend to roam and ride, even on his rocking horses at home, because I truly, him being a kid, I don't want him to feel pressure to do any of this. Yeah. I want him to ride his bike and play with dinosaurs and want to race his pony across the pasture before he ever thinks about.
So he's not going to be fire jumping at 3?
No,
okay.
Sir.
All right.
Hot jumping.
Hot jumping, yeah.
Much to his disappointment. I just want them to have, I see a lot of performers that like to perform just to be under the lights. And I feel very fortunate that I genuinely just love my horses. I'm as happy out in the practice pen as I am performing. I love to go on trail rides. I love to pleasure ride, and I want my kids to have that same appreciation, where they don't have to be performing. They can just enjoy the animal. So that's kind of my angle with my kids. I want them to enjoy the animal first, and they can do the rest second.
Yeah. Well, they need that background anyway. It's like you didn't start Roman riding out of the womb, and you had to develop your horseback riding abilities the normal way first. So they need to do that.
Absolutely. Yes. He needs to learn how to stop them and turn them and do all the things. And, as a 2-year-old, the first time I let him stand up, he's never going to want to sit down and learn again. So he's going to learn from the ground up like I did.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've talked about a couple of your past teams of horses. What's your current team? What are the ages and breeds of your current team of horses?
Oh my gosh, this is my favorite subject. So I have what I would call my core 5. I have 4 that are the ones I rode at the NFR and the show. I do everything big. I do these 4 go, and I have Dash. He's actually 18 now, and there's a whole great story behind him. But Dash is 18. He's a gray quarter horse, and then I have Rummy. She's my only girl currently, and she is 9. She's a blue roan, and then I have Doc, and he is a paint, and then I have Valor, and he's a paint. Doc's 15, and Valor's 12. So, nice. And then I also have Jake. Jake's my 5th. He goes a lot in the summer right now. What I do is Dash, getting older, I take him to the winter shows where you have spotlights and pyro and, all the crazy stuff. He goes, and then Jake goes in his spot in the summer. Dash kind of gets summers off now, and Jake goes in his place in the summers.
That's awesome. And
yeah, so I'm super fortunate. I have just a great crew right now.
And are you bringing all 5 of them to Equine Affaire in Ohio?
I will have the 4. I'll have Dash, Valor, Rummy, and Doc. I'll have the core 4. Jake will start traveling with me this summer, but I consider Columbus whenever I made the comment about the big shows, Columbus is definitely a big show. So Dash will be there.
Yeah, we're excited to see you there. Do you have do you have a preview or a sneak peek you want to give us about your performance in Fantasia?
So I will be doing what you're going to call my 4-up. I'll be coming out with 2, and I will end with a finale 4. And pretty much we'll be doing anything you can imagine in between. I'm going to be bringing it big. Fantasia is an incredible show to be part of. And every time I get the opportunity to perform with Fantasia, I try to up my game. That way I can always keep coming back. Because it's a staple show that performers like me want to get to perform at. So definitely already been prepping for it. It's already on my mind. The kids are going to be there. Really, really looking forward to it.
Oh, they're going to get to watch you hot jump in Fantasia.
Hot jump. Hot jump.
So,
Everything is a hot jump.
yeah. How many times have you performed in Fantasia now?
Twice.
Twice. Okay, got it.
Yes, ma'am.
Very cool.
I've been in Massachusetts twice, and we Roman rode. So I do 2 different acts. I have Roman riding, and that's when you're standing on 2 or 3 or 4. That's when you're standing on 2. And I also do the trick riding. Trick riding is a little more popular right now, and a little more known, I guess, in Roman riding, thanks to shows like Heartland, and you've seen Zorro. So trick riding is where the horse is running around the arena, and you're doing the stunts on the horse while the horse is running. My husband and I do that together. And so with Fantasia, the first time I Roman rode, and then last year my husband and I trick rode at it. So we've done different things, and looking forward to bringing this to Columbus.
Well, we're looking forward to having you there. Kind of one last question is, what are you looking forward to most about being in Columbus with us?
So I think what's amazing about Fantasia and coming to Columbus is the different acts we get to meet and be around, and the different disciplines you get to witness, and the expo itself and the different things. It's just it's a rare opportunity to be around fellow just horse crazy people, and watching how passionate everyone is about their horses. It's just a really special event to be a part of. It's just to be around, whether you're 106, 6, or 66, everyone is still a horse crazy little boy or girl. And to just get to be a part of that and perform in front of that, and people have a sincere appreciation for your horses, there's just nothing that beats that.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we can't wait to see you, and thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I could chat on and on about the horses.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll see you in Ohio.
Well, before we wrap up, what else can we look forward to happening over there at Equine Affaire?
Yeah. So I was kind of thinking, what can we talk about? Because this is our last episode before the show, which is hard to believe. I wanted to point out a couple of different things that I think the audience might enjoy attending. So the first is, if you have younger listeners, or if your listeners have kids who are thinking about college and careers and that sort of thing, we have the College and Career Fair happening. And usually it's a scavenger hunt, but this year it's a little bit different. And so I was thinking that would be a cool thing to talk about. So let me pull up our list here. So instead of a scavenger hunt, there's going to be multiple presentations about how you can match your interest in the equine industry with a college or a career. And then also Karen Bump, PhD, who kind of puts this together for us every year, is doing one-on-one 20-minute consultation sessions. So you can sign up online in advance at our website at equineaffaire.com, or you can sign up when you're there at the event, and you can have just a sit down with someone who knows all the ins and outs of colleges and careers and equine industry type stuff, and she can sort of help you figure out your career path. So I think that's a kind of a cool opportunity for kind of the younger listeners who, or, if you're older and you want to start all over again, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Very good. And a horse for heroes.
Yeah, so Horse for Heroes, we do this every year at every event, and it's a way to give back to veterans and active duty and first responders. And so this spring we're partnering with Operation Horses and Heroes, and that is an organization that's all about bringing equine-assisted therapies and activities to the groups I just mentioned. So if you are part of one of those families, or you are an active duty serviceman or a veteran, go ahead and come to Equine Affaire and sign up. We'll have different activities, different days of the week. I don't think those are set in stone yet. So I would say check back on our website when we're a little closer to the event for what days and times that's happening. But then you can sort of experience the healing power of horses and what it's like to work with horses on the ground, and how that relates to different things you might be experiencing, whether that's managing emotions or even dealing with PTSD. So it's a really cool activity, and then a really great way to meet up with the men and women of Operation Horses and Heroes and kind of follow up with them if you want to pursue that in your own life.
Very good. And anything else before we wrap up?
Yeah. So in addition to the Versatile Horse and Rider competition, we're having the International Liberty Horse Association Freestyle Invitational, that's a mouthful, competition, which has been a huge crowd favorite the last couple of years. That is sponsored by España Silk this year, and that is the opportunity to see invited handlers and their horses do really cool stuff at Liberty. That's happening 2 different days, I think Saturday and Sunday, so you definitely want to check that out.
Well, this will be the last episode before we do the ones live at Equine Affair. Those are always fun. They're fun for us to do, and I know they're fun for the listeners because they can hear some of the excitement of us being there and meeting random people. And you all know I try and find random people to talk to and people that have interesting stories. And, we'll get some of the vendors involved in interviews and some of the clinicians. And we're going to have a fun time over there. And it's always fun to do these live events. And I'm hoping to meet a lot of you. So if you are coming, please do come over to the Equine Network booth and say hello. You'll know where we are. We'll have the microphones set up. So we're the only ones that'll have microphones set up. So come on over and say hi to us. We really appreciate you being there. Allison, good luck. I know what your next month is going to be like. And stay healthy. Stay sane.
You.
And we'll see you also in a few weeks.
I am super excited, and I'm excited to get to meet some of your listeners.
Sounds good. And of course, you can find all the past episodes of the Equine Affair on horsesinthemorning.com. Just scroll down to the Equine Affair banner in the middle of the page, and that'll bring up all the past episodes. We've had a lot of the clinicians and people that are going to be in Fantasia on the show in the last few months. If you missed those, go back and take a listen to them or listen to them on your way as you're driving to Columbus, Ohio. By then, the snow should be gone, maybe. Oh, knock on something. This year, who knows? This could be anything. But we're looking forward. You'll be indoors. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Indoors.
Yeah, that's right. It'll be fine. And we'll see you all in Ohio. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you.